I was born in Bolivia, and my family came here when I was 5. When I was a kid, my family raised me Catholic, and we used to go to church pretty much every Sunday. But as I grew older, I started asking my family why we would do certain things and why we would say certain prayers, and most of the time they would just tell me to be decent in public and to not really ask questions. So as I grew older, I started to question these things on my own, and I generally just got turned off from religion. After a while, I started realizing that because I had grown into the mentality that there was no God, that I was just kind of a product of a random universe, which meant that I didn't really have a destiny, and that leaves you at a pretty empty place. I ended up getting in a lot of trouble for something I did during high school, and I ended up hurting a lot of the people that I cared about, and that's when my wickedness kind of caught up to me. I realized that I couldn't keep living the way I had been living, and this left me at a point where I knew I couldn't be the person I wanted to be because I had tried that, and I also couldn't be living for myself because that was unfulfilling. So I went out to Young Life, and when I got there, I saw a bunch of different friend groups that I hadn't really seen associated at school, and I thought that that was kind of weird. Usually you just see all these different cliques. You see these people not really associate with one another, kids from all different backgrounds just being together. And I started asking, why are they here? This isn't something that you're used to seeing, at least not around the area where I was living. And I saw also that the Young Life leaders were very intentional with the people that came. They were just asking a lot of questions that weren't frequently asked. They weren't just talking about what's the next move at school, or what's going on with your grades, or if you're acting right. They were asking me questions about my personal life. And I found that interesting. That's something that I thought I only cared about and that I should keep to myself. But seeing a whole organization set out to being intentional with these kids' lives actually is what kept me coming back. I saw that Christ was a foreigner. He too knew what it was to be an outsider. I saw that his best friends betrayed him. His best friends denied him. He was ridiculed, he was mocked, and he's even gone through lots of things which I haven't experienced. He was even led to the cross for people that were his enemies. And so that was the type of love that really captured me. That was the type of love that I feel like I had been waiting for up until that point. The fact that I was an immigrant was pretty tough, just because you feel like an outsider. I felt secluded, I felt isolated. I felt like I didn't really belong. But once I stepped into the kingdom of heaven, which is by accepting Christ, I knew that I had a home, and that I knew that my treasures laid in heaven, and that I was a citizen of the kingdom of God. And that the feeling that you belong somewhere, and that somewhere is with your God, really changed who I was at my root. What I would say to someone that's been in a similar situation that I have been in is that I know what it's like to be really hesitant to getting into a community where no one really knows anything about you, a community that's constantly rejected you, that you might have bad experiences with. But I had the same preconceived notions. I've been through bad experiences similar to yours, and what I found here in New City Fellowship is that there's a family waiting for you, where you do belong, where we are constantly striving together to understand what we're called to do in this world, where you are loved and accepted, and where everyone doesn't just seek to live for their own, but everyone seeks to push one another to God. So I would just say that we welcome you with open arms, that you are loved here, and that we would love to know you.